Hi everyone, today's assignment is a discussion on the story that we read last week, Cell 1. So to participate in, you'll obviously have to have finished reading that story. Before the discussion, what you're going to do is you're actually going to create 4 different posts. So you can think of each one as kind of answering a question, so it's kind of like a 4-question assignment. You're going to make 2 posts of your own, and then you're going to respond to 2 peers' posts. So you'll probably have to check into the discussion thread a couple of times to wait for more people to respond. But your first post that you're going to make is going to tell which story element you found most interesting in the story. So character, theme, setting, or conflict, what was standing out to you, and talk a little bit about why. And then you're also going to make 1 post that shares, so you did a bunch of post-it notes for this. You're going to share 2 of your post-it notes. So 2 that you thought were related or 2 that you thought were interesting, and share what did you write on the post-it, and then just why was that thing standing out, or respond by answering the question that goes along with it. So you might share it again and again and talk about why that again and again was important, or share a memory moment and talk about why that memory moment was important. And then after you've posted yours, you'll wait for other people to post, and then you'll respond to 2 people's posts. You can kind of respond in any way you want with those, but just some ideas. If you have further thoughts on the scene or the post-it note that they're discussing in theirs, if you have a similar post-it note that you can kind of add more information to their comment with, did they pick out a scene and you saw something different there? And really, it's kind of open to any kind of response you want. Those are just some ideas to get you going. But let me talk a little bit just about what those responses should look like. So just make sure as you're responding, like take a look at those prompts again, that you have all parts of it answered. Use text evidence, so you're responding to specific parts in the story. You have text evidence in your response. Make sure that you have something you're saying. So we've been doing 1 pages and making sure that we have a clear topic at the beginning. Even these posts, make sure that you have a clear topic, something that you're saying, and be thoughtful in your response. Notice that I have not mentioned length here. I'm not saying it needs to be 2 sentences. I'm not saying it needs to be 10 sentences, but write something that's going to make your statement worthwhile, make it come across as thoughtful. So when your peers are reading them, when I'm going in and reading them, I get to see your comments in there and there's something to it. And then your response to the peer, kind of the same thing you should be having in there, but also you want to make sure that you're building on what they said. So the idea is that you've read and you're listening to what they're saying, and then you have something to say in response. So this usually means you're going to restate part of what they said or build on what they said. You don't always have to agree. You might offer a different perspective. Just make sure that our interactions are respectful on there. So don't just repeat what they said. We're not coming on here just to compliment everyone and say, oh, you made a great post, and that's all I'm going to have in there. So the idea of you commenting back is to add more thoughts, to give them more to be thinking about with the story. So let me give you an example. I won't use cell 1, I'll jump back to thank you, ma'am. So let's pretend that we have an original post here, and it says, in thank you, ma'am, I noticed the again and again of the word ma'am. This is coming from the boy, and I think it acts as a contrast to his acts. We see him acting bad for a moment, but his words, especially his repetition of the word ma'am, make him come off as respectful. This again and again helps us to get a better sense of the character. So after I read this, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to go respond to. So my response says, that was a great comment. I think we learned a lot about the character from this again and again. So this would not be a great response. I've just told them that they made a good comment and I didn't really add anything to it. So this would not be what we're looking for in terms of a comment. Let me read a better comment. I think noticing this again and again is important to understanding Roger's change. I think not only looking at the word ma'am itself, but also the way he's speaking when he says it. He often seems to be whispering or speaking softly, showing a respect for this woman, but also emphasizing some of his shame in his actions. It's interesting how quickly he goes from seeming like a bad person to seeming like a well-mannered young man. And you can kind of see the 3 things I'm doing in here. I'm mentioning their posts and thoughts, so I'm mentioning their again and again. So I'm referencing that I've read what they said, I'm building on what they said. So I have some more thoughts on it. I'm not just saying the word ma'am, I'm also saying the emotions around it. The tone in which he's speaking, that's what I'm highlighting. And then I'm kind of bringing that back to character and adding some thoughts on it. So again, you're going to essentially put 4 different things in there, 2 posts of your own, and then respond to 2 peers' posts.